Do you know that billionaires can single-handedly change the world? Yes, billionaires have trillions of money stashed away in assets, investment funds, tax havens, private foundations, and donor-advised funds. It's hard to visualize that kind of money, but the analogy of time is useful. 12 days are equal to 1 million seconds. 31 years are equal to 1 billion seconds. A trillion seconds also equates to 31,688 years. At a time when millions of species are in danger of extinction, liquidating just their pandemic profits would be enough to alleviate the everyday suffering of billions of humans and preserve biodiversity. In fact, it would cost $1.8 trillion to assist all countries in adapting to climate change in a comfortable manner. This would be a transparent transfer of wealth that would spare hundreds of millions of people the death and displacement caused by climate calamities. In doing so, they'd be saving countries $7.1 trillion in climate costs. 41 million people can be saved from starvation this year with just $6 billion. Billionaires could fully support the UN's refugee programs for less than $10 billion, assisting in the resettling of some of the most vulnerable people around the world. And for $35 billion a year, billionaires could fill the global financing gap for education, guaranteeing that every child has access to education. Nevertheless, with a few notable exceptions, the majority of the world's super rich rarely give to charitable causes and are currently getting less generous. According to Forbes' 400 philanthropy score between 2018 and 2019, there was a significant drop in the proportion of American billionaires who donated 20% of their annual income. Most of them gave away less than 1% of their income during this period. So what are they spending their money on? Stick with me to the end of this video to find out. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're missing out. Okay, let's get started. The first thing billionaires spend money on are tax havens. Hiring attorneys to set up phony businesses so they can send their revenue to tax havens is not cheap. However, it appears to be much cheaper than paying taxes. Over the next 10 years, the top 1% of earnings in the world are projected to evade paying more than $5 trillion in taxes. Meanwhile, the tax rate for many US billionaires is 0%. Private foundations hold an estimated $1 trillion in assets, and hundreds of billions of dollars are being held in donor-advised funds and tax-free investment accounts. If used as planned, this money might offer charitable groups much-needed resources, while tax avoidance may be a way of life for the super wealthy. It compromises the government's ability to pay for healthcare, basic infrastructure, education systems, and other important services that the public depends on. A self-made billionaire does not exist. The economic and social circumstances that provided the resources, labor, and legal frameworks in which their riches accumulated are what made all billionaires wealthy. Tax evasion violates the social contract that members of a society are supposed to uphold, which makes it more difficult for others to get even the most basic human rights. Billionaires took extraordinary advantage of this social contract. They also spend money pursuing eternity. No human has ever lived an eternity. However, some billionaires have continued to try to con their way into eternity amidst this. Younger blood transfusions, cryogenic beds, and even digital consciousness are now available on a new market. More than half of the world's population lacks access to adequate healthcare. More than 5 million children continue to die each year from preventable diseases, and more than 2.5 billion people are unable to get immunized against COVID-19 anytime soon, while the race to extend life eats up trust funds. When considering life extension from a humanitarian standpoint, sponsoring public health is a simpler method than uploading your mind to the cloud. Another one is doomsday shelters. Many millionaires appear to believe that the world is doomed and spend huge sums of money buying homes in far-flung locations to avoid the impending end of the world. To prevent boredom, they also construct subterranean bunkers and fill them with enough food, drink, and entertainment to last for years. However, despite apocalyptic predictions, the world is not doomed. It will be expensive to transform the world economy, but billionaires have more than enough resources to finance a fair transition. Let's not forget their trips to space. Who hasn't marveled at the vastness of the universe while gazing up at the stars? Well, the sight of a starry night sky isn't good enough for billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Richard Branson, who have invested billions of dollars into personal spaceflight initiatives. Particularly, Bezos spent more than $5.5 billion to travel through suborbital space on his Blue Origin craft for 4 minutes. Why not fund a more beneficial technological innovation, such as communal electricity, instead of spending billions to compete to travel to space? There are still 770 million people without access to power worldwide, which stops them from accessing computers, light bulbs, refrigerators, and air conditioners. Lack of an air conditioner during a heat wave can mean the difference between life and death. His fleet of expensive cars. You'd already be paying a lot of money for an individual luxury car, let alone a group of luxury cars, and all for an auto showroom. It may be cool to have a car collection, but let's be real, all they want is to brag to everyone that they have a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, a Tesla, or even some unique automobile from the early 1900s. How often are they going to be riding these? Yes, they may get a Tesla or an everyday car, but the rest are useless. All those automobiles are just for show, and even if they weren't, the amount of energy they squander is absurd. Private planes and mega yachts. Rich people enjoy burning fossil fuels. Billionaires consume a lot of oil to get from point A to point B, whether it is by their private jets, gigantic yachts, or armadas of cars. Also, their mansions, movie theaters, and heated swimming pools use a lot of electricity from natural gas and coal-fired energy infrastructures. In total, billionaires have carbon footprints that are thousands of times larger than those of the typical individual, according to a study by Indiana University researchers. Billionaires should support environmental protection programs like research into renewable energy and environmental conservation and restoration projects instead of disproportionately heating the atmosphere. Private islands and land. The land is a favorite purchase for billionaires. Most frequently, the ultra-rich buy lands, such as distant lands, for luxurious houses and estates. They sometimes deprive communities of their land while also harming the ecosystem. Alternatively, they could imitate the actions of wealthy individuals like Hans-Georg Weiss, who have acquired property and then created wildlife reserves to safeguard a variety of species and larger ecosystems. Alright guys, that wraps up today's video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching this and hit the subscribe button for more. Watch out for our upcoming videos and don't forget to check out our other videos. For now, goodbye.